Welcome to our cocktail party. The history of cocktails is inextricably linked with the history of fashion. The cocktail dress, as with most fashion, is a reflection of society and social mores of the time. We take a look at over a century of style, modeled by dolls from the collection of Ryan Andersen. The 1900s. One always dressed for dinner, and absolutely for pre-dinner cocktails. Dinner gowns were opulent floor-length affairs, richly embellished with jewelry and accessorized to the max. Comfort was not a priority, and sturdy underpinnings remained in place. Our model is Robert Tonner's Tyler 2.0, as restyled by Melanie Kiefer. Her gown is by Cindy Friesen, of Redsilk thread. The jewelry is from Franklin Mint. In the 1900s, the go-to beverage was the old-fashioned. A warming blend of bourbon or rye with Angostura bitters, the tang of citrus, and a cherry garnish. The 20s. The period after World War I ushered in a new informality. Gone were the long formal dinner gowns. Ankle-length dresses were introduced, typically of chiffon with ruffled hems and draped layers over a sleek slip dress. From the mid-1920s, the more stereotypical, elegantly beaded flapper dresses appeared, perfect for drinking and dancing in speakeasies during the Roaring '20s. Shorter and sleeveless, to shock the old fuddy-duddies, they typically were worn with T-strap shoes, a headband, and possibly a long strand of pearls, as memorably referenced in the movie Thoroughly Modern Millie. Tonner's Daisy Buchanan in her original gown, from the Great Gatsby event at 2013's Age of Innocence convention. In the 1920s, simply everyone was drinking the Martini. The decadence of gin mixed with vermouth, with just a hint of absinthe, and a cheeky olive. The 30s. In the 1930s, the length of cocktail dresses dropped to the ankle, still fluid in structure and form-fitting, to enhance a youthful athletic physique. These gowns generally had sleeves, giving them the versatility to last from afternoon tea to cocktails, without the need to change. Earlier in the century, ladies would change their clothing several times a day. Favored colors included black, peach, pink, green, and blue, with darker tones being worn in the winter, in fabrics such as silk and lace. In warmer weather, the dresses were often chiffon floral prints. In the early 30s, elements of the 1920s remain, as shown in the hairstyle of this doll. Tonner's City Tweed Shauna, from 2013. Hair by Cary Carter. Gown and headband by Lori Lyon, at amarcouture.com. The fur is by Demethea and the jewelry is by Facets by Marcia. Later in the 1930s, the silhouette and hairstyling were more relaxed, as illustrated by Sydney Chase, in a gown by Robert Tonner, created especially for the 2019 Metro Doll Savoy Fair convention. In the 1930s, the cocktail of choice was the Daiquiri. Purely for the sophisticates, Havana Club is shaken with the juices of grapefruit and lime, with the merest suggestion of maraschino. The 40s. Defining a dress as cocktail was first coined by Dior in the 1940s. Before that, evening gowns were usually known as dinner dresses. During World War II, there was little call for the fripperies of evening wear, even if it could be purchased during rationing. Formal dresses were simply in day dress style, but made with more elegant fabrics. Two-piece suits were created in this way too. To go from daytime to evening, chunky accessories were added, possibly in bakelite, the wonder material of the age. Shoulders were big, in the manner of Joan Crawford, and accentuated further with a nipped-in waist. Later in the decade, the silhouette became leaner, and cross-wrapped bodices with side draping were popular, in the manner of a Greek goddess. The age of the pin-up was born, as dresses began to cling to every curve. This look is exemplified by Basic Raven, Lady Ozmopolitan, wearing Blue Belle from Brenda Starr, all by Tonner, in 2006. The 40s favorite tipple was the Manhattan. An uptown mix of bourbon, vermouth, and Angostura bitters. Perhaps with a dash of cherry juice, to take off the edge. The 50s. The golden age of the cocktail, and the introduction of the little black dress, as cocktail parties were held at home and in the office. A longer, fitted look developed, and more luxurious post-war fabrics were becoming more widely available, in velvet, lace, silk, and taffeta. Bold colors and oversized patterns were popular, including plaids, dots, and florals. This was the age of matchy-matchy. Accessories had to be of the exact same color, and often the same material. However, to brighten things up, a boldly contrasting item might be added. Busy in the kitchen, and all set to host her home cocktail party, Tonner's F.A.O. Schwartz 2006 exclusive, Panache Sydney, wears an evening ensemble created by David Escobedo, of D.A.E. Originals. The Bloody Mary was the fashionable way to go in the 1950s. Spiced vodka, tomato juice, and lemon juice. All it needs is a stick of celery for stirring and a bit of crunch. The 60s. During the 1960s, hemlines became shorter on both dresses and jackets. The tailoring was a little more boxy and more pared down. Matching jackets were often worn over sleeveless dresses. Although black was still a hit for parties, the new metallics were also gaining ground. Rich fabrics continued to be used. Colors might be pinks or greens, in both bright and pastel versions. Footwear for daytime was generally flat, but for a more dressy evening look, kitten heels or stilettos were worn. Martini Minx Jack is working late at the office, and is ready to hit the bar. She wears Monica Merrill's flipped-out outfit. Both doll and ensemble are from 2008. Everyone adored the Moscow Mule in the 1960s. Simply iced vodka, lime juice, and ginger beer. Need I say more? The 70s. The hippie chic of this decade gave us granny style and maxi dresses. Flares, jumpsuits, fringing and loon pants all made an appearance. Dressing down was the new dressing up, and for cocktails, going full-on pre-Raphaelite, with flowing robes and locks, was the order of the day. Nobody works this look better than Petulant Pink Stella from Tonner's 2006 collection. The grooviest guys and gals preferred the Tequila Sunrise in the 1970s. The original painting in a glass. A visual treat of tequila, orange juice, and grenadine. The 80s. The era of the prom dress. Everything was big, including the hair. Dramatic looks were created with huge puffy sleeves, bubble skirts, giant bows, and lace ruffles. Colors popped. And more was definitely more. Think vintage Madonna, in Desperately Seeking Susan, for a night out vibe. Embassy Dinner May Lee from Tonner's 2002 collection, gives us an understated 80s look, channeling drama with decor of the era. The cool cocktail to be seen with in the 1980s was the Long Island iced tea, which couldn't be further from a nice cup of breakfast tea in a china cup. An astonishing mix of tequila, vodka, rum, triple sec, and gin. No Earl Grey whatsoever. The 90s. By the mid-1990s, the extremes of the previous decade were officially dead. The silhouette became body-conscious and tailored. Slip dresses and spaghetti straps appeared, often layered over other garments, including trousers. Fabrics were satin, metallics, and sequin. Colors remained bright, and animal prints were still popular. An elegant RTW Esme, by Robert Tonner in 2004, as restyled by Laurie Lenz, wears a gown by Lori Lyon from her Sachet Bond collection, of 2014. Anyone who was anyone was drinking the Cosmopolitan in the 1990s. Mainly vodka, and triple sec, the addition of cranberry juice makes this cocktail seem far less innocuous than it really is. The noughties. Many clothing trends in the 2000s were born out of globalization, the rise of fast fashion, and celebrities' growing influence as style icons. The 2000s were also home to trends that hit big and burn out fast. Technology and Y2K had a huge impact on fashion in the early 2000s. The color palette was filled with shiny black tones and reflective metallics. Nowhere is this demonstrated better than in Celebration, the banquet event doll from Tonner's 25th anniversary convention, in 2016. The final cocktail in our list, something of an acquired taste, is the Penicillin. An unusual combination of Scotch whiskey, with single malt, zapped through with ginger, lemon juice and honey. The ultimate nighttime cold cure. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed exploring the world of fashion with us, through the medium of cocktails. Now I need to go and lie down, for a while. All that alcohol has taken its toll. Now where's the bedroom? Ouch.